those of you in Calculus 2 who are beginning Calculus 2 are going to learn that you are going to discover something called solids of revolution. And what it means by solid of revolution is I'm going to take something that I know, a function, and I'm going to revolve it around an axis. When I say revolve it around an axis, I'm taking this function, which is y equals square root of x, which is kind of a drooping slope here, and I'm revolving it around this x-axis. And the reason why you're given this formula to find the volume of a solid revolution is basically what's going to happen is when you revolve this perfectly with no holes in it, you're going to have a bunch of disks. That's why it's called the disk method. And the integral, or which you know is from the Riemann sum, of all these disks with respect to a radius of this function is going to give you a three-dimensional shape. It's basically going to be adding all the little disks together, which is why you get a volume. Essentially, you turn this function into something like this by integrating that formula. So I'm finding the value of the space occupied by all the disks from point A, which is 0, to point B, which is 3. The 2 pi implies revolution. You remember when trig, 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, 2 pi. 2 pi is a full 360 revolution. In this case, by revolving it around the x-axis, I have a 2 pi revolution multiplied by the radius, 2 pi r, area of a circle, or pi r squared rather, but in this case it's 2 pi r because you're using this radius by the rotation. And then you're going to get the value of all these little areas with this extra dimension here. So if this were in inches, you would turn square inches into cubic inches, which is, as we know, is how we measure volume. Similarly, when you learn in Cal 1 that meters become meters per second squared. So essentially, that's why you use this formula. That's essentially an explanation to help you visualize why you're using the formula, what each component means, rather than simply plugging values in and getting an answer and not really understanding why you're doing it.